What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another Clash Royale video. Today we are in episode 2 of the How to Hog 2.6 series. Today's video we're going to be talking about some basic kind of starting out strategies. So for example, first plays and some very important things to get down if you're going to try and pick up 2.6. I record a couple of ladder games here, just 3 of them in a row, and a common thing that I hear, like if I play a friend or whatever with this deck, is like, how do you defend air with only the Musketeer? And I think that will be answered, first of all, is you can cycle back to multiple Musketeers against Lava Hound, and you can use your cannon to pull it, or your Fireball if you really need to. But I think that the general question, is how do you defend things when you really don't have a whole lot? You only have your Musketeer as actually a real troop, you could say. Ice Spirit and Skeletons, your cycle cards, and then your Ice Golem. That can't really do much damage. And so, like you see right now with the Mega Knight, how you defend with Hog 2.6 is you use your little tiny cards as distractions. Maybe you pull. I believe I do it later on in the second match, but if you put a Ice Golem in the very, very top by the river, one tile to the left, so the opposite side of where the troop is coming down, like a P.E.K.K.A, for example, it will pull the P.E.K.K.A to the other lane and have the P.E.K.K.A walk all the way around, allowing your tower to shoot it the whole time. And if you have a cannon or a Musketeer or something else down, that can also shoot it. Also, shout out to Matt for no particular reason. Anyway, so as you can see in the video, he decided to let that hog go on the right side and instead push on the left, which did not work out well for him. And that was one of those moments I was talking about last video in knowing your elixir. So I was at 10, and he still hadn't played anything, and so I put the Ice Golem in the back, and he still hadn't played anything, which means that I most likely had a little bit of an elixir lead. That's why I decided to go Hog, because I knew he would Mega Knight, and it's the opposite side that he was trying to go for. He was trying to go on the left. And so I figured it would be smart, and then this Ice Golem was not really needed, but it ended up working out okay, because now it's like a mini tank for the Musketeer. Since he has to defend that side, I go Hog other lane immediately. He has nothing to defend, and he ends up letting it go, except for that wizard, which I ended up just fireballing, I believe. Yep, so that's another thing. Switching lanes is a very important part of Hog 2.6. You have to be willing, and more importantly, know when to switch lanes. If your opponent has a massive push in one lane, and you can't defend it, just go the other lane. That way, you might tower trade, or you at least get a chunk of damage in there, and then you can finish it off later. So now, again, he has to defend the left, so I go on the right. And then I know I can just use my cannon and my Ice Golem to defend that Mega Knight, since he has to waste elixir on the right side to defend the Hog. He ends up losing that tower, and I can just log, and then I can Musketeer the balloon. Wasn't sure if it would pull it, and at this point I knew I had won, so I wasn't really worried too much about placement. That's obviously not the ideal placement for that cannon. And I could have Ice Spirited if I really need to, but I didn't need to. The game's already over at this point. I was just trying to get the cheeky 2 crown for the pass. Bonus crowns, always nice. I will always take those. And give them a little floppy fish, because why not? So that game, especially with the Mega Knight, shows a good example of how you kite with your smaller troops. And I talked about that last episode as well. How your smaller troops are probably, even though you cycle them sometimes, they're often the most important. The Ice Spirit's honestly probably one of my favorite cards in the whole game. It's so, it can freeze things, it can reset things, it can kite things, it can take a shot from things. It's just so versatile. And it does like 130 damage at max level to a tower. Another important thing, kind of starting out with Hog 2.6, is the Fireball value. As you saw right there when I fireball that witch. You have to be willing to take the Fireball value when they give it to you. And another balloon deck here, which is kind of weird. It's almost the exact same thing. So, if you're at this 5,600, 5,700 kind of range, you're going to face a lot of very strange decks. Mega Knight is all over the place right now. Couldn't really tell you why. I don't think it's that good right now either. So, here, this is what I was talking about. The Ice Golem, the very top, opposite side of where the troop is coming down the river, it can kite it all the way across, allowing your tower to shoot it the entire time. That's a very important skill that you're going to be using a lot with Hog 2.6. So again, taking the Fireball value when it's given to you, like this wizard. If I need to, I can log that to kill it, Or if he lets it go, I get the free +1 elixir trade from the fireball, as the wizard is only 5 elixir. He has the witch now, but since it cycles so fast, and I know he's trying to build up a big push in the left, same kind of thing. You know, he has to spend the elixir in the right side to defend the hog, and that's why it's so good. Now here I choose just to use the Ice Golem, because I want the Musketeer to defend the Mega Knight. And I know I can cycle back to another one. Right, I can surround it with the skeletons, and it is dead. Just like that. Using your little troops to take the shots from the big thing, so your Musketeer and your cannon, and your tower of course, can figure it out. And shoot it down. Skarmy, just gonna log that, because he doesn't really have anything else I need to log. Could have saved it for like a wizard if I need to finish it off after a fireball, but at this point I know I can cycle back to it pretty quickly. So again, he's trying to build up a lane, or push in the left lane, so I go right lane immediately. Again, kiting with the Ice Golem into the opposite lane, and then defending with the Musketeer. Ice Spirit, and he freezes. This catches me off guard. Did not think he'd have freeze. I kind of panicked, missed my fireball there, but it ends up working out okay, as I can defend it with Musketeer that's still alive. And then he's trying to do the same kind of thing, so I go opposite lane immediately. There I said oops, because I knew I had made a mistake. Did not see freeze coming, but the next time I'll show you how to counter freeze. You just separate your stuff. So I have cannon over there and Musketeer on the right. That way he can't freeze both. And even though it eventually kills the cannon, by that time the balloon's almost dead and I can just fireball. That freeze wasn't very good on his part because he should not have had fireball, and that fireball saved me, and I knew he'd freeze, so that worked out pretty well. And at this point, the game is pretty much over, so just kind of finish it off here, ready for the next match, just in case. Just got a fireball after the hog, because I know he's going to put something down, and I know I can spell cycle at this point, so I'm just cycling to a log, and that is the game. Not too worried about the massive push he has, which would have definitely taken my tower, but doesn't matter since I know I can spell cycle. It also brings up a good point of you have to know how much damage your spells do. So maybe your log does, you know, I believe mine does 111 to a tower. And then you want to know what your fireball plus log, fireball plus 2 log, 2 fireballs on a log. That way you can, if you know you can spell cycle, you know exactly when to. You don't have to like have that awkward moment when you have like 3 health on a tower. That is the absolute worst, and it is very preventable with knowing how much damage your spells do. Probably the best game of the 3 for this one. Again, starting play right here, I start off with the Ice Spirit and not the Hog Rider, just because on ladder, especially at this range, you get some crazy people who will just have stuff that just screws you for the rest of the match. So it's not worth that, you know, 1 or 2 hog hits you might get. They start with a P.E.K.K.A. and you're kind of screwed if you don't have the right cycle. So I like to not start with the Hog Rider, start with my small troops instead. That way, they can't punish me for something I didn't even know they had. Or if they, you know, they have NATO and Golem, they just NATO my Hog Rider and then Golem the back, and I'm pretty much screwed. So that's why I don't start off with Hog too much anymore. And Sparky is a tough matchup for Hog Rider just because you don't have Zap and you don't really have any reset. So you have to use your Ice Golem to tank a shot, and then usually you go with your Ice Spirit to then freeze it, or your Skeletons to surround it. See, Giant, I actually play this match really well. So here again, there, Ice Golem the block, and then I let that charge up a little bit, and Ice Spirit to freeze it and reset it, and the Musketeer and the tower finish it off. So now I have the Musketeer going in that left side. I can go with a Hog, and even if he played Sparky, which I know he had mini P.E.K.K.A, so I knew he was going to play that. I mean, no, my Hog's going to get at least 2 shots. I think it gets 3. Yes, it does, right there. And this is unfortunate. I didn't have my Skeletons quite in cycle yet, so I had to waste a log. But it's not too big of a deal since there's not much else in this deck that I would need to log. So it works out pretty well for that positive 1. The 2 for the log, 1 for the Skeletons, for the 4 elixir mini P.E.K.K.A. And this is then reset kind of thing. He's up a little bit on me, but I know I can defend with my cannon for the Giant. He's in the back, and at this point, the tower is relatively low, and I can start using my spells to cycle it. So cycle a Fireball, hit the Giant as well, which is kind of a bonus. And then that's the ideal cannon placement, right? You see me hovering it right there. So on the other side of the river, actually, a lot of people don't think it'll pull, but it will pull every time. Not as much for Hog Riders, but for Golem and Giant for sure. Royal Giant as well, that'll also always pull. The Hog Rider isn't quite as, you know, consistent, I guess you could say. So I like to put that one to the left, just in case. You give me Fireball value here. I missed a mini P.E.K.K.A, which was unfortunate, and that would have been really nice. But I do get the tower down, and at this point, just kind of defending out the rest of the match. So, you know, you just take one troop at a time. So the cannon for the giant, ice spirit for the bats, musketeer to finish up those bats, and then the knight, skeletons for Sparky, and the push is gone. Just one thing at a time, focus on one thing at a time. Don't try to defend the whole thing at once, you're gonna get lost. Even if it's a cycle deck, I know I find myself making this mistake. I try to play it too fast, I'm thinking cycle, cycle, cycle. I just start putting cards down, with no real thought to why. It is important. Every card has purpose. Even the skeletons, even the ice spirit, actually especially those two, they all have a purpose. So don't just cycle things randomly, unless, I'd say the one exception is if it's the end of a game and you are trying to spell cycle him out. Otherwise, with that, we're going to look at his profile here just to see if he's anything decent, which he is not. Ladder, kind of didn't really expect much. He wasn't a very good player. Doesn't even have a 12 win for a challenge. But I got that magical chest out of it, so that is always fantastic. And with that brings us to the end of the video. So, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Peace out, and see you guys later.